welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Miss Coast, and today we're going to be talking about mental health. Okay, so I've been wanting to make a video about mental health for about 2 weeks now because it's something that's really prominent in my life and pretty much everyone's life. Whether you pay attention to your mental health or you don't, I feel like it's really important to discuss how to maintain good mental health, even when it's really hard. But before we get into how to maintain good mental health, I want to talk about some things that mess up my mental health and probably other people's as well. So I touched on this in my very first video, but that would have to be social media. I have a love-hate relationship with social media. Truly, I kind of like almost hate social media because it's taken us like away from each other. It's like messed up real relationships depending on how you use it and depending on the type of person you are. So if you're an introvert, social media can be detrimental because you're already alone a lot of the times, and then you're like watching people on social media live perfect lives and you're just like, what am I doing wrong? Like, I'm by myself. But when you're with a lot of people all the time, you feel drained. So it's not wrong to be an introvert, but I just feel like social media can sometimes make you feel like maybe you're not as valuable as somebody who's an extrovert. Another thing that I feel like messes with my mental health is comparison and rushing, wanting everything to be your way and your time when we all know it's God's time. So I feel like one of the things that I'm comparing myself to other people about is like not being married. When I was younger, I thought I would have been married by now. I thought I would have had kids. I thought I would have had a house. I thought I would have had a family, a stable job, a career, everything. Like, I felt like everything was gonna be perfect. I had no idea that adulthood had so many ups and downs. I remember when I was younger, my dad always used to be like, the older you get, the harder it becomes to make decisions. And I never really understood that. I'm like, how can it be so hard to make decisions? But now I get it. I fully get it. Like, the wrong decision can really alter your trajectory. And, you know, we always say like God is in control and nothing happens outside of God's will. But I do feel like there are times that I could have made a better decision, and that can lead to regret. So I try my best not to get hung up on like my past decisions because there's nothing I can do about it. All I can do is try to learn from it and make better decisions in the future. Another thing my dad used to tell me was to enjoy your childhood. And I feel like all of our parents told us this, and we didn't really understand what there was to enjoy, because it seems like when we were children, we were so excited to be adults so we could do whatever we wanted to do and make our own decisions and not have our parents bossing us around. But like looking back, I'm super nostalgic. Like, just being taken care of by a parent is like top tier. Like, children, shout out to y'all, because y'all are really living your best life. Adults, we can live our best life sometimes, but then other times it gets really hard, it gets really sticky. Earlier this year, I was talking to one of my girls, and we were both talking about how we felt like this year was gonna be filled with spiritual warfare. And I feel like a lot of Christians feel the same way. There's been so many tests and trials, and I'm just waiting to come out on the other side, because I kind of feel like my life is like a movie. Like, whenever I go through something, I'm just like, okay, God, I'm waiting for you to like pull me out of this. Like, I can't wait to be in the next scene. Like, that's how I always feel. But lately, like, it's been taking a long time for him to pull me out of it. So I'm just like, what's going on? Like, when are we moving on from this? Like, I don't want to be in this anymore. It's really tough, you know. Going through like all these things really reminds me of Isaiah 43. It's my favorite Bible verse at the moment. It talks about how you should not dwell on the past, look to the future, because God is doing a new thing in your life, and you'll get through the wilderness, you know. Kind of like how the Israelites were in the wilderness for 40 years. Should have been 11 days, but it was 40 years. And, you know, God had the promised land on the other side. So God always has our best interests in mind, and we can get to that point. We just have to make the right decisions. So I feel like making the right decisions comes with discernment, and that's something that I really want to start getting better at, just following my intuition, being confident in the decisions that I make, you know? I just wanted to make this video as basically like a warm hug and encouragement for anyone who might not be living their best life at this time, you know? It's hard to not get caught up in what everybody else is doing, what everybody else is getting, what everybody else is receiving. But one thing I know for sure, I need to probably fast and pray, because I pray every single day. I wake up, I pray, I read my Bible, I go to sleep, I pray. During the day, I pray. But I'm like, maybe I need to do something else to kick it up a notch, because some of my days are really tough. And I hate it because when I'm like this, I'm really distant from my friends. I don't want to talk to anybody. I barely want to go out because I'm going out, but I'm still not where I'm supposed to be in life. So what am I really doing? Like, I need to be focused, you know what I mean? Even though I still do go out, but it's like I'm not as excited to do it. My birthday is literally in a week, and half of me is almost like, I just want to stay home. I just want to be in my bed. Like, why am I celebrating? But it's like, of course you need to celebrate. You made it to another year of life. You are here, you are breathing, you are alive. That's a reason to celebrate, you know? So I think one thing I really want to work on is being content. Like Paul said, I believe it was Paul, you need to learn how to be content in any situation, whether it's good or it's bad. Last year by now, I was having the time of my life. The whole year, there was bumps, but it was a great year. Like, I was happier than I've ever been. I can really truly say that I was so happy. And then this year was the complete opposite. So I'm praying for a better 2024 and 25, 26, 27, you know, growth. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Learning how to be content in all situations, because it could always be worse. You know, the Libra in me is like, it could be better too. But listen, it could be worse. Everybody's going through something, and I feel like that's why we should be so kind to each other. I'm the type of person that I do not judge people because I've been through it. I've been through a lot, so I can't judge people. I hate when I see people on social media like judging other people, like constantly in somebody's comments, tearing them down, saying all these things. And it's like, we're all human at the end of the day. Like, they're celebrities. We shouldn't put celebrities on a pedestal. They're human just like us. They make mistakes. Why are you judging people? Even if they're not celebrities, your friends, whatever the case may be. Like, you can observe, you can have thoughts about things, but don't judge people, because as soon as you judge people and say, oh, that can never be me, oh girl, it'll be you. It'll be you next. Like, let's not do that. I literally remember when I was in college, I didn't even say it out loud. They were teaching something in class, and I was like, how do people do that? How do people go through that? Like, that's what I was thinking. Best believe I went through it. I went through that exact same thing just because I was thinking about it in a judgmental way, you know? Like, I truly didn't understand it at the time. And then God was like, oh, I'm gonna teach you. No thanks, never do that again. So I never questioned how could it be, how could it be? Stuff happens, life happens. There's so many different versions of experiences that people are having, and we might not understand, but that doesn't mean we should judge it. I also want to send encouragement for people who feel like God is not listening or God's not answering your prayer. I feel like in my past, like, my prayers were answered pretty quickly. And so I always knew like God heard me, God was listening, God was by my side, you know? But lately, some of my prayers are getting answered, but other ones that I've been praying for a while are kind of on delay, and that discourages me sometimes, because it's like, okay, God, like, I'm praying and I'm praying and I'm praying about the same thing. You tell us to pray without ceasing. You say we do not have because we don't ask. I'm asking what's going on, but I want to send encouragement because God really does hear us. God is as close as our breath. God is all knowing, all seeing. He might have another plan for you in mind. He might have another idea. He might want to teach you something. He might want to mature you and grow you in a certain area before he elevates you to the next place. You know what I mean? Because I have seen some of my prayers get answered and other ones are just on pause, and I'm just like, this is what I really, really, really need right now. But something else might be in store. So just want to send encouragement for people who feel like their prayers aren't getting answered. Another thing I think is important to talk about is your relationship with God, what you're putting into your relationship, what effort and what energy. I remember a couple of years ago, I knew that God loved me, but I didn't know if I could truthfully say, like, I love you, God. I love you too, God, you know? So I remember for a whole year, I prayed and I was like, God, help me learn who you are. Help me learn to love you. Help me learn to reciprocate the energy, basically. And I'm so grateful that I did that because I can confidently say I love God. So the things that I did to strengthen my relationship with God is to journal. I've been journaling my whole life. When I tell you I've been journaling since I was in middle school, I'm not kidding. I've been journaling since I was in middle school. I used to have the big books, like this big. They were super thick, and I would write about my day every single day. If I go back in those journals and read them, the laugh that I have, like, is crazy. The little stories that I used to tell, like, in middle school and high school. So journaling has always been like a huge thing for me. Now that I'm older, I don't journal every single day, but I journal every few days. And I have a journal for just my thoughts, and I also have a journal to talk about like my prayers and what I'm praying for and what I desire. Journaling is something that helped me get closer to God because I feel like I'm able to express my feelings better on paper than verbally. I've always been like that. I like to write, I like to type, I like to read. Talking, I'm a little quiet, but you know, this is getting me out my shell, so yeah. But I feel like if you're struggling with your relationship with God, just come up with a routine. It doesn't have to be extravagant. It could really just be wake up, say your prayers, read a Bible verse, read a devotional, and go about your day. You know, keep guiding your thoughts throughout the day. When you feel yourself getting upset about something, learn to pray instead of like calling your friend to vent or acting outside of anger. Learn to pray first. I know this video was supposed to be about mental health, but I feel like mental health and your relationship with God is very important. Of course, I always recommend, like, if you really aren't seeing any progress, there's always therapy. You can talk to someone and see if there's any other help that you can get with your problems. Like, I suffer from anxiety, so that's always been something I struggled with, like, growing up. And you know, I know a lot of people suffer from anxiety as well, or depression, ADHD, things like that. So I know sometimes you might need to talk to someone to get more help. Another thing that really helps me balance out my mental health and gives me all those good hormones is exercise. Now, I don't do it every single day, but I try to do it like 3 times a week, because immediately after I exercise, I feel in such a more positive mood. I feel more motivated. I just feel happier overall after I exercise, and it helps me feel more confident in my body. So I always recommend exercise, drinking a lot of water, and self-care is so important, you know, like pampering yourself, baby yourself. And that could look different for everyone. Like, self-care could be taking a 3-hour nap instead of forcing yourself to do something else that you deem more productive. Like, sometimes you got to listen to your body and allow yourself to rest. I really love reading books. I don't like forcing myself to do anything. So like, if there's a show that everybody's watching, but I really don't feel like watching it, I'd rather read, then I'm going to read. I'm not going to force myself to do something that everybody else is doing, you know. So just following your heart, doing what makes sense to you and feels right in your spirit. Okay, y'all, so I think that's the end of this video. It was a short one, but that's my take on mental health and Christ, relationship with God, self-love. It all goes together. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and stay on the lookout for my next one. Bye.